Wait, okay. I wanted to bring this up though. This is a funny little random thing where I'm not even subscribed. I'm gonna drop a sub right now. But I'm actually a huge fan of Peter's. I do this all the time. I find people that I watch on YouTube, and I never end up dropping a sub because their videos just keep getting recommended to me, and I'm able to consume the content without being a sub. So, sometimes I'll like just unintentionally not even notice I'm not subscribed. But Peter Santinello, I'm a huge fan of his content, and he always drops these videos where he like just goes to different areas and talks to people in the area, and it's very insightful and like really interesting. But he did this video recently when he went to outside Las Vegas, and it's pretty interesting, but it's all about like, you know, the shit that happens in outside Vegas and brothels and all that shit. But I'm bringing this up because this lady, guess how old she is? She's 75 years old, right? And I'm sure you guys are going to say like, oh yeah, she looks like she's 75, but
no, she doesn't.
Guys, in this whole, I would say she looks pretty youthful. And also in this whole video, not the whole video because she's with them, I think for like half or something like that, but for a good amount of the video, bro, she's like walking around, like lifting shit, opening doors, talking about how she's working on this, does all these things throughout that. She's very, very active. It looks like she does a lot of shit. Like she has a very busy schedule of like kind of just like physical labor throughout the day of like shit she has to take care of around the ranch and shit. She owns this giant property. She's 75 years old. And at one point, Peter Santinello asks her it's something about water. Like it's like a dry ass place. She's like, how much water do you drink? And she's like, I don't drink water. She's like, I never drink water. He's like, what do you drink? She's like, wine and beer. And this is not the first time I've heard this. This is why I'm bringing this up. Is I brought this up before in 10 Talks where I found this old video. The video was filmed in like 1940 or 50. It was like a super old video, and the video was titled like interviewing the oldest people at that time. So the dude was interviewing like 100-year-olds in like 1950 or some shit like that. And one of the people he interviewed was this like old dude. He was like 90 something, almost 100 years old. And same thing, he's like walking around. He has a cane and shit, but he's like walking around. He's fine. You know, he's able to do shit himself. He's not like all completely dependent on someone helping him, is what I'm trying to say. And the dude asked him like, what advice can you give to young people to like stay old like you are? And he said, don't drink water. He's like, never drink water. And that was the first time I heard that. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that's weird. Like, why would he say that? And the dude said like, what do you drink? And he's like, I only drink beer and like I think like other like kind of like, you know, small alcohol type things or whatever it is. It was like beer and wine, same shit. And then we see this lady who's 75, active as fuck. She seems like she's very healthy, and she's like, I don't drink water. I only drink beer. You know what I mean?
She also
wine.
seems like she was off drugs a little bit.
But she lives by herself in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm sure people are gonna be different out there, but I'm not saying that you shouldn't drink water. I'm sure drinking water is healthy. You know, like, but all
drink water, y'all.
Yeah, drink water, y'all. It is good for you. But all I'm saying is like, it's like, you got to be careful sometimes with like, especially there's this huge health craze going on. This health craze in America has been going on for a while. We've been told not to eat butter, not to eat animal fats. Now they're telling us we should have been eating butter. We should have been eating animal fats. It's actually better for you, blah, blah. It's like the things that they tell you is healthy and not healthy is always going to be fucking based off like what a person wants to portray. And you could always almost cherry pick statistics from like from a human body to like back up almost anything, right? And find people who kind of fit your narrative. And I feel like at the end of the day, like we just gotta like understand like what you know yourself the best type shit. And I'm not saying approving just drinking. I'm not saying just to drink beer and alcohol or wine. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is like it's just interesting to see like how some people can survive and some can't. I think I talked about not too long ago the dude I found on Instagram that only eats meat, the raw meat diet guy. Mm-hmm. He was posting videos of like this old lady in Italy who hit 105 or 101, and she said that her mom lived past 100, her dad lived past 100, her sister lived past 100, and she's like, I'm the last one left. I'm at 101, and they asked her like, what's your secret to living long? And she said, she's like, I don't cook my food. I only eat raw foods. And she said she eats 2 raw eggs a day and a raw steak every day. A raw steak without cooking it at all. And bro, she lived to 101. People nowadays are gonna be like, you're gonna die from these worms, these diseases, blah 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 blah, whatever, all this shit. And there's so many examples of people who like live to old ages. So many people die by younger ages before 100. So like the statistics of how many people live to 100 is like way more few than people who die in like from like 50s to 70s and shit. And you have people like that just doing the most ridiculous shit, staying alive, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. We should start eating raw steak
I
and
don't
only
want to
drinking
eat
beer.
raw slog. What are they called?
Oh, yeah,
Slonkers?
slonkers.
I want to take
but
a
I'm
slonker a day.
but I'm sure, like, I'm sure that lady, that Italian lady, because her whole family was doing that. I'm sure, like, she grew up into that. She kind of, her body was kind of adjusted to that. I'm sure a person like me who lives in LA, if I started eating just raw eggs, beer, wine, and fucking raw steaks every day, I'm sure I would get sick. I'm almost 100% sure I'd probably get sick and not survive it. But a person like her, like, she just grew adjusted to it, right? So I don't know. It's pretty interesting.